Well, good evening everyone and welcome along to everyone that's present, councillors, staff and members of the gallery. And I'd like to advise that the meeting will be digitally recorded in accordance with the council policy Gov.017, digital recording of council meetings to record meetings of council to assist in the preparation of the minutes and to allow live streaming of the council meetings. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Tomagina people, and to pay our respects to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. The attendance has been listed and apologies nil, leave of absences previously approved and nil. Confirmation of the minutes of our previous meeting.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan moved.
Second.
Councillor Hyland seconded. Any corrections to the minutes are to be identified and agreed at this point prior to taking a vote to adopt the minutes. Are there any corrections, councillors? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Declarations of interest. Is there any councillor or staff member that has an item on the agenda tonight with an interest? I take that as nil. Council announcements and report. And the announcements by the Mayor. We're at that stage of the meeting where I can acknowledge that our staff have come to the top again in the award-winning representing our municipality and our council. Our staff have risen to the top again. Local Government Professionals Awards held at Grindelwald last Thursday, and we were represented there by Ms Tracy Bradley, Rachel Hogg and Anna, and they were awarded the 2022 Community Service Delivery Award, the Social Media and Engagement. That rolled all the cities in the state, and for Waratah Wynyard to be acknowledged in that field is credit to our staff and the work they do beyond the call of duty. And I'd just like to invite Mrs Bradley, would you like to comment on the awards presentation day and how you felt when it all happened, Mrs Bradley?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you, I just also would like to acknowledge the hard work of our comms team. We certainly work very hard to have a community engagement program that reaches as many people as we can. Over the last period of the plan, we've had Facebook reactions increase by 149%, sorry. Facebook engagements have increased by 105%, and social media followers have increased by 30%. And I think that what the team has done has looked at not so much just doing your traditional media releases and sending out community surveys, but actually going to the community and asking at the time and getting that information. And we have our publications are now in-house, and Anna's made some just beautiful publications that we used for the Tulip Festival and programs that we've used for our tourism and promotion of the area.
Thanks, Mrs Bradley. And here it is. Sit proudly on the desk downstairs. Well done to that section of our council, and congratulations to all the staff involved. Item 4.1 on the agenda is announcements by the Mayor, and I've got a couple of pages here that I don't want to bore you, but I really want to deliver it all, and I hope you bear with me because it's my last official real council meeting, and I'd like to acknowledge several things. This meeting concludes the 4-year term of the current council. The group should be proud of their accomplishments, dedication and efforts throughout the period. At the 2018 elections, we welcomed Andrea Courtney, Celeste Edwards, Ali House to council. Ali was subsequently replaced by Maureen Bradley, and I want to acknowledge the efforts of this group in quickly contributing and helping form a strong, cohesive council. To remind us some of the highlights of the term, I've put together a couple of dot points. In relation to key projects in the past 4 years, we have undertaken and significantly progressed. Waterfront project completion, including new wharf area, Broadwalk, Camp Creek modifications and the new multi-purpose building, the Yacht Club. We welcome Big Heart as the key tenant to the cafe space to deliver an outstanding variety of community programs, and we have witnessed what is progressing there in a big way. The development of a new East Wynyard playground. You know, how popular is that? It's chockers when you go that way to see the people coming from other municipalities to enjoy that playground. So good. A great community project, the Sisters Beach Community Recreation Skate Park. Down there you'll see always someone using that area. Cardigan Street Recreation Ground upgrades. The soccer club are wrapped in relation to how they can conduct their matches and things there now, and the facilities they put up with for many years, for them to enjoy what they've got now, they are very thankful. New change rooms at the Wynyard Sports Centre and the Wynyard Recreation Ground. Yeah, with the introduction of the level playing fields, grants and things like that, and the male and female activities in all our sports now, they are so well catered for. The commencement of the Anzac Park All Abilities Playground. That will bring visitors from every corner of the state to that facility. It will be one of only 2, I believe, in the state, and yeah, it's so it's going to be so good. The development of the Wynyard CBD Plaza. We've recently commenced the English Church Street IGA junction improvements, and over the years and the high school and the traffic that there and the growth of IGA, this is well and truly needed at this stage, and how much safer it's going to make that I think 6 or 7 way intersection. We've maintained the iconic Tulip Festival and further enhanced the offering of a month-long spring-loaded program. The program was so good that we couldn't let it go without including it with the one-day Tulip Festival, so I believe that's here to stay. Negotiated a long-term arrangement for the Ransley Veteran Car Collection at the Wonders of Wynyard. How good it was that we had a local come along with interest to that collection, and that collection otherwise could have went to any corner of the world. What a magnificent collection we've got, and the confidence for it to remain in our municipality for many years to come. Development of the Integrated Community Environmental Plan, ICEP, and complete a range of actions. Introduce online meetings and live streaming of our council meetings. Introduce the Waratah Community Board. Develop the Fossil Bluff Master Plan. Develop the Boat Harbour Beach Master Plan. Develop the Waste and Resource Recovery Strategy. Develop the Cam River Reserve Master Plan. Develop the Central Area Development Plan. Develop the East Wynyard Foreshore Master Plan. Adopted a new settlement strategy. We are well advanced in the preparation for a new planning scheme. Undertaken a rural road safety audit. The first translocation of an entire plant community in Tasmania, and the establishment of the Heathland Reserve at Frederick Street. Introduced a highly successful and award-winning communications and engagement strategy under which we introduced community conversations. Developed a community health and wellbeing plan, age-friendly communities plan and youth plan, and actions the tasks within. Further refined service levels to make it clear and consistent for the community to understand service expectations. Celebrated national recognition for the Wonders of Wynyard at the National Tourism Awards. What an event that was at Maroochydore to take out the Visitor Information Centre of the nation. That is so good. We've been knocking on the door for quite a while, and to think we knocked off some of those huge tourism places up the information centres up the Gold Coast and other parts of Western Australia that were in that is a heck of an achievement. Well done. You know, we've got to recognise the work there that the volunteers do over the roster that they follow through, and a lot of those people just know the history of our area and where to guide tourists at the best of times. There have been challenging decisions throughout the term, including the disposal of the Martin Street land, the sale of the Priolena Hall, prohibition of public camping at Boat Harbour Beach, the Waratah Dam decommissioning. Was that a battle? Changes to the dog management policy and the closure of Wilkinson Street, and all the decisions that have been made with the best interests of the community in mind. We've won major awards, as I mentioned. The Waratah Wynyard was named Visitor Information Centre of the Year at the 2022 Australian Tourism Awards. I just mentioned that again. ICEPT was awarded at the Local Government Professionals Tasmania Annual Awards. All of these achievements have occurred while also navigating successfully through a global pandemic. Strategically, Council has had success in lobbying and securing funding for telecommunication upgrades in the region, for truck wash stations and further Bass Highway upgrades. None of us could have predicted a global pandemic would shape our term. Whilst this was a very difficult period, it forced us to explore and introduce multiple ways of handling things, and we should acknowledge these efforts. I wish to acknowledge the support of the political partners from all parties. Without their support, many council programs and initiatives are simply not possible. When we have seen 2 Prime Ministers and 3 Premiers in our 4-year term. Just think about that. 2 Prime Ministers and 3 Premiers. Financially, our council remains in a strong and healthy position, underpinned by our financial management strategy that guides our decision making. Council has achieved 6 years with a small underlying surplus in a row, despite challenges presented by COVID and the economic environment. I haven't got long to go, folks, but one constant throughout our 4-year term has been the staff. Our workforce, led by our GM, Mr. Shane Crawford, Daniel Summers, Sam Searle and Tracy Bradley, continue to put in a tremendous effort, and I wish to recognise the contributions of all our employees and the professionalism they display and the extra effort they are willing to put in whenever it is needed. We would not have had the success and growth we have had without them. I'd like to acknowledge our General Manager, who we have reappointed for a further term, and I look forward to the continuation of the progress we have made. It gives me great confidence to know he has the reins for another 5 years and that the community is in good hands and will continue to prosper. I also wish to personally recognise the support Sally Blanc has provided to myself and councillors throughout the term. Sally and Shane, I thank you sincerely for your guidance and support over many years. Where would I be without you both? Thank you very much. I'd personally like to thank all our councillors, including those who are absent, that have served over the past 4 years for their commitment to ensuring we always do the right thing by the community, even if some of those decisions have been difficult. Our last official meeting together will be the AGM to be held on Monday the 24th of October, which is next Monday night. For those standing again in the current election, good luck, and to our new candidates, I hope that should you be elected to council, you enjoy the challenge and experience as much as I have over my 25 years as an elected member. Thank you very much. Okay, we'd now move on to 4.2 and the council note my communications through the last month. They are listed there. If anyone has any questions or I can answer, or could we have a motion to receive?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Donia moved. Councillor Bramley seconded. Reports by delegates who are nil listed. Notification.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I do have a couple of reports, if you would allow me to present them, please.
No, go for it, Deputy.
The Tulip Festival is the first one. By all accounts, it was an absolute cracker, despite the rain and hail, and congratulations to Lucy and all who were involved. Also, on behalf of the Council, I wish to express appreciation to the Council Executive Officer, Sally Blank, for the provision of monthly agendas for each ordinary meeting of Council, the manual recording of these meetings and timely provision of minutes after each meeting over the past 4 years. This is not an easy task, and I thank her for a job well done. My third report is farewell to Mayor Walsh. On behalf of the Council, I wish to make a short statement of farewell to Mayor Robbie Walsh, as this is his last official attendance as Mayor and Chair at an ordinary Council meeting of Waratah Wynyard. After a total of 25 years as a councillor and 12 years as Mayor, or Mr Mayor as we affectionately call him, Mayor Robbie will be retiring from council at the end of October. During his time as Mayor, Robbie's trademark has been his beloved Akubra hat, which captures the very essence of our community. In his younger years, Robbie was a footballer with Wynyard Football Club and is now a mad keen supporter of Geelong Football Club. Robbie is a poet, a lover of country music and western music, and I know that because I had to listen to it on a couple of trips home from Hobart. He is a competitive equine endurance rider, an avid tractor collector, and has even been a serious tractor pulling competitor. More recently, Robbie and his horse Tonto were stars of breakfast television filmed up at the Table Cape Tulip Farm. During his time on council, Robbie has supported our community through some very tough times, such as the 2016 floods, the tragic boating accident with the loss of 3 young local lives, and the destruction of a Wynyard family's home by fire in September, and of course the uncertain and testing times of the COVID-19 pandemic. As Mayor, Robbie ensured that our council punched above its weight, following through with resource sharing with Circular Head Council, and has been involved in projects that benefit everyone within the Waratah Wynyard municipality, such as the Wynyard Wharf upgrade, Somerset CBD upgrade, Sisters Beach skate park and basketball court, Rotary playground at East Wynyard, the magnificent new purpose-built Wynyard Yacht Club, and the ongoing development of the All-Ability Playground in Anzac Park in Somerset. And of course, Robbie has listed many, many more achievements over his 25 years or over this past term, so we're very proud of that. But I do need to say, and there are many more plans underway for our amazing place. We thank you, Mr Mayor, and may you and your family enjoy your rewarding retirement years. I now ask councillors and staff to be upstanding to show their appreciation.
Oh, gee. Oh,
You're supposed to sit.
thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. That was pretty nice, and but look, yeah, it's been a pleasure. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hyland.
If I may, Mr Mayor, I'd just like to add a couple of words to that. On behalf of the community, just you were a leader for a long period of time, and you did a lot of work sort of on the quiet, but you always moved amongst the community. You always had the ear to the ground, picking up all those little things that, a lot of us do miss. And that's why, for all those years in the Mayor's role, you had such a giant support from the community. And it showed out in the election results in each year. If everybody sort of wants to refer back and have a look, every picture tells a story. And of course the hat, as Councillor Dunyam said, that was a big thing. Where's the Mayor with the cowboy hat? And that was what you'd hear, particularly in a lot of sporting clubs. And having been with you for the majority of your 25 years, not all, but a big majority, we've had some good times, some low times, but mainly good times. And as you've listed out what we've achieved as a council in the last few years, be something you should be really proud of, and all the best in your retirement, old boy.
Thanks very much, Councillor Hyland. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's all a bit much at the one moment, but we'll get on with the meeting in a minute. But I did come in here unexpected to be Mayor. I never thought I had the ability to do it. I had knockers about wearing my hat, but I worked in the bush most of my life, and I didn't think I was cut out to be Mayor. But it goes this way: I had a fair bit of sickness, and I donated my body to Menzies Health Research when I was on my last legs at one stage, and they done a survey on me when I recovered on my eating habits, my working habits, and my dress habits, and all the rest of it. And they assured me that if I hadn't, and I've worn a hat ever since I can remember. I just can't remember when I didn't wear a hat. If I was working in the bush with a helmet, when I come out, I put my hat on. And research showed me that if I hadn't wore that hat, I wouldn't have been here nowadays. It'd have been right through me because of the protection that hat provided for me. And I can wear the knockers, and I've got a lot of joy out of it. But there has been one or two knockers that said, he's not fit to be the mayor. He dresses like a cowboy. Why don't he dress properly and respectable? And that's hurt me a little bit. But I think, you take the ups with the downs, and I've had more ups than downs. Thank you very much. Yeah, so there we go. So that's that for me, nearly. And away we go again.
I'll have a little go, Mayor, if you let me.
Oh, jeez. Did we bring after me?
Well, I can't add too much to what's been said. But I say, well done, Mr. Mayor. Do you wear the hat to bed?
No, it's close. It's on the bedpost.
Thank you, but well done. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Yep. So we ready to go? Anyone else? Now, away we go. Reports with the delegates. I thank you for those nice comments. And look, I go out happy. Yeah, all good. Notification of council workshops. Council note the workshops have been held since the last council meeting. They are listed there. That's 4.4 on the agenda. We have a move and a seconder, please.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
I'll second that.
Seconded, Councillor Edwards. Any questions? Any speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Public questions and statements times. There's 511 responses, and we go through those, and we come to the time of the agenda where it is time for public questions without notice. So here we go. And it goes like this, as the Council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with Council core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure that all people are treated with respect and integrity. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards to their dealings with Council. As Mayor, it is my responsibility to maintain orderly conduct of Council meetings and to determine whether a question or statement is out of order due to the use of defensive, objectionable or defamatory expressions. I know the public will show consideration and courtesy in their comments. Thank you. I'll now call on, to begin with, a question from Mr O'Boyle. Mr O'Patrick, would you like to come to the microphone, please? I don't think it's switched on. Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yep.
I've got two questions, Mr Mayor, actually, or you just want the one?
No, go for them. You're there for both.
Righto. This one concerns Sisters Beach. Probably going in the past here, we all know for a fact there that not much has been done down here by this council, but that's something there for the record. But can council provide details on its website as to budgeted funds for Sisters Beach, including specifics for any projects, large or small, to be commenced or completed in this financial year? And please include any Commonwealth funding in that document, if we could. So that the people of Sisters Beach know what's going to actually happen down there and how much
Mr GM, would you?
this council is spending down there
Yep,
compared to Wynyard
I'll pass
and
that out.
Somerset.
Oh yeah, I'll pass the question for an answer to the GM, Mr O'Boyle.
No worry. Just
Through Mr Mayor, when we set the annual plan and budget every year, we have a section in the front of that document which summarises major projects by township, if you like.
Yeah.
So there is a comparison that is available, or a list of major jobs, exactly as you're asking for, by township. So the existing annual plan and budget will have a section that lists the upcoming projects for Boat Harbour, for Sisters Beach, for the rural areas, for Wynyard, for Somerset and for Waratah. So those are the 6 areas that the major projects are identified. So the information I believe that you're after is available in our annual plan and budget document, which comes out each year.
Yeah, okay, because one of the questions there was this financial year.
Yeah.
We're already moving into it.
Yeah.
All right, I haven't seen anything start yet.
Yeah. We're certainly comfortable to send that list through to you,
Yeah.
Mr O'Boyle, if you'd like it,
Yeah.
but it is certainly available on Council's website.
Yeah, okay, good, but we'll follow up on that because I haven't seen anything start. Next one is the, This is not a question there for the meeting, but it's a question here to the Mr. Mayor there. Who is the officer that answers some of these comments in this forum here?
It goes through the GM to
Right,
the
so who is the actual officer?
to the relevant officer of the question.
Right. Okay. I'm just wondering why the general manager didn't put his own name or his position to some of these statements. For example, page 49 of October minutes, instead of saying the officer.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anywhere that does that, changes their term.
Well, it's our procedure here.
Right. Okay. 'Cause a lot of people wouldn't know that.
Oh well, that's that's our procedure.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Question there is, go back to April minutes there, if I may, when the council, the officer said they're going to educate themselves on the fish farming, all right, off our beautiful shores out here.
Could you just repeat that? I missed the beginning of it. The council said they were going to educate themselves.
That's what it says in the minutes. It's all documented.
Okay.
Okay. You'll see that. That comes from the officer, I believe. Okay, so that was part, I think that was a question I might have asked actually, going back 4 or 5 months ago. All right. So the question now is, when is council going to educate themselves on this environmental damage that will definitely be caused this beautiful coast once this trial commences? All right. I don't see too much. I see a few councillors, talking about it, stuff like that, raising the issue, great. But then we see on the October minutes there, probably a full page from the officer, or say general manager, all right, stating there that the motion there, all right, is for the government to facilitate a forum, all right, on fish farming. So I'm not quite sure whether that comes from the general manager himself, his own personal opinion, or the council has voted for that. I don't know, because it doesn't say. There's about 4 questions in one there. All right.
Mr. GM, I have a. Yeah, I'll ask you to answer that one if you could.
Through Mr. Mayor, if I understand correctly, the item that you speak of will be debated later tonight as part of the agenda. So we have a notice of motion on the agenda tonight from Councillor Courtney in relation to requesting the state government convene a forum, and that matter will be discussed later this evening. So the officer's comments are there to provide background or information towards the motion that will be discussed later this evening.
Okay, but you guys reckon you aren't responsible for it, but now you're having a discussion later on, but you've already said it's going to be facilitated by the state government. It should be.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't get that.
I think the answer to some of your questions will come through as part of the debate later this evening.
Right. Okay. Because just my last little bit there on that just seems that full page 49, looks like it comes straight out of the government handbook. It really does. I think I've read that 4 or 5 times coming from Rockcliffe and all that crew. And that's what it looks like to me. And that's what the end of the motion was. But now all of a sudden it's swung around, now you're going to discuss it. You know, that's fair enough, but, you know, like it just needs to be kind of put a little bit differently in the minutes from my perspective. Right. So, look, thank you very much. That's my 2 questions.
Thank you, Mr. Royal. Mr. Ewington, you had a statement. Would you like to come forward, please?
All good?
Yeah, can't quite. I don't know whether you're close enough to it, Mr. Ewington.
How's that?
Yep.
My name's Ken Ewington, Wynyard. I would like to make a statement outlining some of the goals I would like to see the council achieve in the next 4 years, whether or not I'm elected as a councillor. I would like to see our footpaths and walkways to be looked at in our streets, and for improvements to be made for safety and accessibility. There are some footpaths in the Wynyard, and some other areas have raised or cracked concrete. Vegetation grown onto the streets, or the path simply ends and becomes grass. This means people need to cross the street or to get to the next footpath, or have able to continue. A review of our footpaths and crossings, including tactile pavers for the blind in both towns and suburb areas, is important for safer street paths and to encourage more walking within our towns. Walking is very important for physical and mental health for all members of the community, and walking tracks are an excellent project to encourage family members, young and old, to partake and enjoy the beautiful scenery and the area has to offer. The current and future walking tracks need to be graded and signed to indicate length and difficulty level for all members, which can help those such as mums and prams, visiting tourists and those with limited walking ability to enjoy the safe and accessible paths to experience what the area can offer. I'd like to see the council develop a new parks and picnic areas in current unused blocks of land and to maintain and improve existing parks reserves. This could create, in turn, provide more opportunity for outdoor activities, community meetings, meetups and family entertainment for both tourists and locals. I'd like to see invasion weeds to be taken seriously for the community, to be educated on the types of weeds around and how to identify them and how to report them. I would like the council to have an easy weed reporting system so everyone can easily report any weed infestations. I want to see the council, forestry and the A&Os be responsible for the environments they will live in and look after our natural landscape to keep on top of our invasive weeds. The Waratah area is a beautiful place and we want to keep it that way. P.S. Foxglove is now in the Laponia area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ewington. Next one would be a question from Tracy Jones.
Yes, please, sir.
Tracy, would you like to come up to the microphone, please?
Yes, I can raise my voice. My question relates to the conduct of the meeting and the order in which questions are permissible. And my question relates to why are the questions from the public held before the body of the meeting? My rationale for asking is that another municipality concludes the meeting with questions from the public, so that, for example, this man from Sisters Beach probably wouldn't have asked his question had the questions been held at the end of tonight's meeting. Thank you. So, I'm looking forward to the rationale from you
Mr.
as to
Jan.
why it's done the way it is.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy for longer standing people in the room to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd imagine there's two primary purposes why we have our questions and statements at the start. One is for perhaps the opposite reason to what you're explaining there, in that it does give a member of the public the opportunity to make a point or raise a question about items that are on the agenda later in the evening that may need to be considered by the elected members should they have something they wish to raise. And I would imagine that the second point primarily would be to allow members of the public to attend and ask their questions and then depart the meeting should they wish, rather than having to sit through the entirety of council meetings. Council meetings historically have been very lengthy, and so rather than have to sit through the entire meeting, you can ask your question, participate in the debate, and then depart should you wish.
Can I add something to that, or not, Mr. Mayor?
Not really, Councillor Bramish.
I'm just going to.
Yeah, we're not here for a debate. We answer the question. Sorry about that, but that's the that's rules as they go. Maureen Corbett, you had, I'm not quite sure whether you had your statements or questions, but whatever you got, it's your turn. Thank you.
I would like to make a statement about the fish farm situation. To clarify, I was shocked to read basically this page 49 in the Advocate on Friday, and it misrepresented the situation really badly. With respect, anonymous officer that was quoted looks at one part of the fish farm situation. And yes, that's correct. There is a 3-year trial going off Burnie. But there's a much more important and worrying situation that I think other people did too. I wrote to each one of you, and in that letter about the fish farms, I requested that council auspice a public meeting on it, and I realise this is not a normal council job, but in this particular instance, councils are being expected to put up with a lot of the consequences of fish farms in their local area with no compensation. So what the officer seems to have forgotten is that come 1st of January, these international fish farm companies, the 3 of them, there is no more a Tasmanian fish farm industry. It's all owned by overseas interests. These people are going to be allowed to apply for leases all along the northwest coast, all, including just outside Wynyard, anywhere. So there's no-go areas, and it's the 1st of January 2023 we're talking about. So in that letter that I sent to council, there's a link to the IMAS study that shows you all the lease areas, shows you their categorisation, and they're all there right in front of, out on Wynyard Beach. So for the benefit of this motion, which I was disappointed to see because I asked for the council to auspice a meeting for our local council, not ask the state government who is actually behind it all, they're just going to say what they say on their websites. It's all sustainable, it's all wonderful, but there's no rubbish, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no point in having a state government facilitated. We want to find out from the people here, not find out, but give the information. So, fish farming situation, clarification for the benefit of the officers and councillors. I thought it was fairly clear, but there are 2 major issues, not just one. On the 1st of January, the areas are all open for leases, and I didn't realise it, people didn't understand this, but the second one is the research that will go on for a while, and that's about major industrialisation in the Bass Strait. So is council aware of the impending opening up of the northwest coastlines for the international fish farm companies to apply for leases? There's been a moratorium for 1 year which finishes with the commencements of the state government's 10-year plan. The plan sounds grand, but it does not have a social licence until the present damage that fish farms have been doing is addressed. And I speak for several thousands of people actually in Tasmania. There is virtually no coastline in the northwest that will not be up for grabs, and any council that has not held a public meeting. I'm not even suggesting that council has a position, though I think they should, like Flinders Island Council has. They've had their public meeting and they've made a council position. They've listened to the people. But any council that has not held a public meeting for their constituents to clarify and inform the public of all the implications will just be behind the 8 ball. They'll be the ones that the government says, oh, look, go there. They're not making any fuss at all. They don't really mind. Go that area. And that's all I need to say. I'd rather the motion said, council request, the council runs a public forum, as the letter I sent to you all said. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchinson, you have a statement and questions.
Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. Just in response to Council's answer to my question in 5.2.2 of tonight's agenda, how long has the Director of Community Engagement been held by the person currently in their role?
Through Mr Mayor, we don't discuss nor disclose staffing matters as part of an ordinary council meeting.
That's not a personal question, it's just a question about
personnel matters. So staffing matters, anything to do with employment conditions, employment terms, is not a matter to be discussed at council meetings.
Okay, so how long have you been in the role, Mr. General Manager?
I'll repeat the same answer to yourself, Mr Hutchison, as I did the previous question.
But the information is just right on the wall here. Like, it's not that hard to answer that question.
Perhaps it's no need to ask the question in the first place, Mr Hutchison.
Okay. Maybe a bit more transparency would be appreciated. Okay.
There's no more transparency than what's needed that's on that board there, Mr Hutchison. And if you,
thanks for your opinion.
Draw you into, I quoted that I will not tolerate any of this sort of conduct, and I will draw you into line if it comes again. So just stick to the point, please.
Okay, I'm asking questions. That's
what
you don't tolerate conduct of questions. All right. Did the General Manager, Shane Crawford, and or the Director of Community Engagement, Tracy Bradley, attend any part of the Local Government Professionals Tasmania Conference last week, Wednesday the 12th, Thursday the 13th, or Friday the 14th of October, and which parts of the program were attended?
Mr GM, do you wish to answer that now, or in?
No, I don't.
That'll be passed on.
Well, I think the question might have already been answered in the preamble with the award. So, Miss Bradley, you talked about the
you direct the
the
questions
award.
to me, not the staff.
Okay, sorry, Mr Mayor. The award that's been received, does the person that spoke on that award wish to discuss whether that they have a role in that organisation that awarded that award? Local Government Professionals Tasmania.
I say yes to Mr GM. Yep. I don't believe that entitles to an answer in respect of your question.
Well, I'm just wondering who decides on the award that you received. Do you have an answer for that?
No.
You want to take it on notice?
No.
You don't want to take it on notice?
It's a Local Government Professionals Award run by the Local Government Professionals.
Okay. And is there anyone in the room that wishes to disclose an association with that Local Government Professionals Tasmania?
No.
There's not. Did you ask around?
No, I don't want to. I won't, and I don't need to, and I don't intend to. It is their business, not yours.
Right. Okay. I thought you said earlier in the year that you don't keep secrets from the community, Mr. Walsh. You don't have to answer that one. Don't have to answer it. All right. Since December 2017, can the General Manager please detail the nature, if any, of his ongoing connection with former Devonport City Council General Manager Paul West, now with River Road Consulting?
Mr Mayor, I think it might be best just to summarise my response to Mr Hutchison for this question and all, in that I won't be responding to any of his questions this evening. Mr Hutchison at the last council meeting indicated he had some questions for myself. I have written to Mr Hutchison via email a couple of weeks ago. I asked him to put forward his questions to me so I could respond in an appropriate manner. I could prepare my responses and provide him those answers. He did not give me the courtesy of a reply to that email, so I have no intention of replying to his questions tonight, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr GM.
All right, I will respond to that. Thank you, Mr General Manager. The reason why I didn't respond to your
you
email...
asking questions or a debate?
I'm not debating. I'm just responding to the suggestion that I didn't give him the courtesy. The reason why I didn't respond to your email is because I wanted to ask the questions on public record so that you had the opportunity to answer them in a public setting. If you don't want to answer them, that's that's your call. But I'm still going to ask the question. So, the number of formal or informal meetings attended between December 2017 and October 2019 that Paul West might have been in attendance at, how many of those meetings have you been in attendance at? And my third part to that question was, can you please detail the number, extent and dates of interactions between November 2019 and October 17th, 2022 with Paul West in your capacity as General Manager? So that's not a personal question, it's in your professional capacity. And I'm quite happy for you to take them on notice. Would you like to answer the questions tonight or take them on notice?
I believe the General Manager gave you an answer to those questions.
I'm just giving an opportunity if he might have changed his mind.
I believe the General Manager gave you an answer to those questions. Would you like to proceed or cease your...
I'll move to my statement. In May 2021, I observed that submissions as part of the consultation back from the settlement strategy consultation period were not included in council documentations. I asked a question at the May 2021 meeting, item 5.3.2. What did people say about it? In response to this, the list of responses were provided in the June council meeting minutes in the attachment. There are at least 2 responses opposed to the suggestion of River Road being rezoned, but instead of considering these responses, council simply just adopted the plan that council released earlier that year. Yet in the draft local provision schedules for the Tasmanian planning scheme, no rezoning was being considered by council. So one has to ask, why develop a strategy?
I thought you were in your statement. You've had your questions. I thought you were in the statement you declared a while ago. Now you're asking questions. Where are you going?
That's just a question.
Yeah, another question. Well, you've
posing.
had your question time, and now you said you're going into your statement.
Yep.
Is
So
your statement
why
a statement, or is it a question which should have been asked earlier?
this is a statement. I can ask a question as part of my statement, but not direct the question at you, Mr. Mayor. So why develop a strategy, then less than 12 months later not include a key component of the strategy in the new planning scheme proposals? Are there other tactics at play here? I don't know. In reference to item 5.1.2 on tonight's agenda, 33 employees of the current 120 workforce have worked under former General Manager Paul West. A total of 33 staff still employed at the Waratah Wynyard Council were employees when Paul West resigned as General Manager of Wynyard. Of those 33 staff, a total of 13 staff have worked for council for 20 years or more, which would represent the majority of time Paul West was General Manager for council. I'm not making any accusations against any particular staff of council. However, I do have concerns when a property owner with strong local government connections and with known connections to at least 2 senior management staff at this council, who also being a former General Manager of the council, having worked alongside and are employed a significant percentage of council staff in the past, when he makes comment on the local provision schedules for the new planning scheme, requesting property rezoning based on council's very suspicious settlement strategy that was developed after council sent its first draft of the local provision schedules to the Planning Commission. I just wonder what is going on here. I know council isn't going to tell me what I want to know, but councillors, I ask you, given the questions I've been asking and the connections that senior staff have with Paul West, a property owner at River Road, requesting property rezoning as per the July council meeting minutes and attachments, is it worth consideration that maybe the settlement strategy needs another look at? Was the development of the settlement strategy developed without any external influence? And can you be certain? Councillors, it's not my job to keep the staff accountable on behalf of the municipality. It is your job. If you want to know more, all you have to do is ask. But at the end of the day, I believe there are a number of questions that need to be asked of this councillor's General Manager. So if any of you are successful in re-election, and any candidates that are watching tonight, my expectation as a resident and ratepayer is that you do ask the tough questions, ones that may not necessarily make friends, but ones that will demonstrate your capability as a councillor. Funny, is it, Mr. Hyland? Comedy half hour, is it?
Please continue or leave the table if you're finished.
I have made an additional submission for the Tasmanian Planning Commission hearing for this municipality's draft local provision schedules. The hearing is over the next few days, where the Commission will hear from representatives, followed by a decision about the Waratah Wynyard local provision schedules. I seriously encourage councillors to go onto the Planning Commission's website and have a read for yourself. I'm happy to provide you with the web link. You all have my email contact. Some have suggested I make baseless allegations or present arguments without evidence. Well, this time I thought it was important to present the evidence I've gathered to highlight the connection between Paul West and Shane Crawford. Once you read it, you can be the judge for yourself if you believe that there is anything of concern for the municipality or you as a councillor. I believe integrity needs to be questioned.
Mr. Hutchison, I declare you are making objectionable defamatory expressions in relation to these two gentlemen, and you are on record of your allegations and your suspicions, and that can only lead to further unsavoury situations with baseless. So just be very careful of what you've made statements of. You are here on record, and I would be very careful before you start making them allegations. So if you have anything further to say it, or leave the table.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In closing, thank you to each councillor that has given time to serve the community over the past 4 years. I'll miss Mayor Walsh's reminders to be quiet and hurry up. I'll miss Darren's points of order, but they've disappeared in a flash. But it's pleasing to note that other councillors have filled the void and taken up the opportunity of interrupting me. I look forward to the next term of council and the thrilling instalment of Season 2 of Comedy Half Hour Live on free-to-air YouTube every third Monday monthly from 6 p.m. I also look forward to all of the questions and statements I'll be banned from making by Honcho Highland. Thank you.
Cut it. Okay, item we are at now, Planning Authority items. Now we move into 658, the Planning Authority items. And it starts with the stage subdivision of 2 into 8 lots and the road extensions located at 108 Mackay's Road, Somerset. There's a recommendation there, councillors.
Moved as per the recommendation.
Councillor Hyland.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam seconded. Discussion, folks? Any discussion, councillors? Councillor Courtney. We have so too. Oh, sorry, we have. Yep, I went one too many. Yep, public statements relating to planning matters. There's nil received, but do we have any listed?
On the subdivision?
Yep.
Yes.
No. Yes. On the questions without notice relating to the planning matters. You have a question.
Oh, we've gone back.
We've gone back.
We're not in the subdivision now.
I've got a motion. I've got a motion on the books, but I'll put it on hold until your question is there. They're public. I'm sorry. They're for the public, and there's been none registered. Yeah. Sorry. I needed a bit of assistance there. 6.3, we have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hyland moved and Deputy Mayor Duniam seconded as the recommendation. Any speakers? Any questions?
Yeah, just to open it. Just to open the debate.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hyland.
Yeah, I think what we really need to concentrate on here, this is actually a planning application. Nothing more, nothing less, just a planning application. From my reading, there's a couple of contentious points, obviously. One is the burrowing crayfish, and to me that has been satisfactorily addressed, and it will get addressed later in the program of how the development unfolds as it progresses. And the other one is also to do with the roads, who owns what road, and how they're going to conduct all that, and that comes into play in the building application. So what we're dealing with is just the plan of the subdivision and how it is all going to come together. So I think the concentration needs to be on that item.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Any further speakers?
Yes. Please, Mr. Councillor Courtney, you go first.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Duniam. I'm going to speak on this subdivision, not because obviously we've all seen quite a number of emails go back and forward between councillors, planning officers, senior management over this subdivision, so we've all obviously done a fair bit of research on it. I do have concerns about the fact, I acknowledge, Kevin, that you say that this is all done and dusted on the burrowing crayfish. I don't think it is. I get that we're a planning authority in this session and that the advice is that we cannot make any decision on changing the application and what's being put through. But the statement that we can't refer, or that it's not our place to refer, I don't believe is correct. The research that I've done this afternoon doesn't say that we can't do it. And to say that it's going to be dealt with later, through all the paperwork that I read, the most concerning sentence for me is that it is a matter for the applicant to determine if the referral is required under the EPBC Act. Now, I don't know any planner, any developer that's putting a subdivision in that might have trouble with an environmental issue that is going to refer themselves. I think that's just naive to believe that that's, going to happen. I think that under our environmental responsibilities as a council, we can't just expect that that's going to happen. I think that there's a requirement here for us to put in a referral. I'm not saying that we shouldn't approve the subdivision, but I think that this highlights another failing of our planning scheme. The fact that our planning scheme doesn't have any requirement that we meet or that the subdivision meets the EPBC Act. The fact that the Environmental Act and the planning scheme are so separate is such a concern, but this is something that we can do. We can do a referral. And I'd like to put it to the other councillors that yes, we can say as a planning authority, this is passable, this is under legislation, we've got no discretionary power to stop the subdivision. But we do have the choice as to whether we be responsible and whether we say, yep, but we'd like to make sure that this referral actually happens. Because to rely on the applicant, I think, is negligent for us to do that. So I don't know whether we want to do an amendment or whether we say, yep, we can pass the subdivision, but can I get support, or can we put in a motion that says the referral be made to the Environmental Biodiversity Act, the Minister, to be able to do the assessment? Because I don't want to rely on, yes, they will refer themselves.
A question, Councillor Courtney. You're asking the question. Mr. Planner, Mr. Thornton, Mr. GM, would we direct that question to Mr. Thornton? Through you.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. I probably can't really talk to procedure with regards to the meetings and how that can be added.
Yeah.
It would not be a condition under this because EPBC Act is outside the acts that relate to planning in Tasmania. It's a federal act. It is a similar process to the Aboriginal Heritage Act. So if anybody is doing development in an area that may have had relics or been utilised by Aboriginal people in the past, it's actually up to the applicant to apply under that act. So it's the same process for the EPBC. So there is, as we've said in the reports, no requirement for council to refer this. So and it would not be able to be put in as a condition of this proposal because it doesn't fit within the legislative context of planning in Tasmania. So it would not be a fair or reasonable condition to place here. I think it would have to be a separate motion aside from this decision.
Okay. That's satisfactory answer, Councillor Courtney?
Yeah, that's fine. So what we're saying is that under our planning legislative rules, we've got no way to say that this needs to be part of this subdivision approval, that you have to make that application. But I can put a motion forward, should I be successful to come in on the next council term, that on this subdivision that we as a council make a referral. That is right. That's what I can do.
Mr. GM.
You could choose to do that this evening too, should you wish. Yeah, if you're wishing to, I guess.
Motion without notice.
Well, foreshadow that you'll add, I guess, add a secondary part to this existing motion. So I think we should deal, as Mr. Thornton suggests, we deal with this particular one and either make them 1 and 2 or just add the secondary part. But I think we look at that in a second. Yeah.
Whilst it's associated with the motion, we can take a further motion. Yep. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we'll give that some thought while you have the debate.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, any further questions or speak? Deputy Mayor Dunyam, you wish to speak?
Yep, thank you, Mr Mayor. I note that some councillors have been approached by the representatives and by Dr Rosalie Woodruff MP regarding the potential impact on the Burnie burrowing crayfish that have had their existence of this habitat identified on this land. I do know a little about the engaged Yabimana, as my son at the age of 16 won the Australian Water Prize, a significant national environmental competition for schools and universities. He represented Australia at the Stockholm Junior Water Prize, securing runner-up or second prize to a group of 3 university students from Portugal. And so this little creature has world fame. Dr Woodruff points out in her letter that the Council has not been provided with a report into matters of national environmental significance, particularly pertaining to the threat of this species, and that this report is essential for councillors to include in our assessment of this proposed stage subdivision. In response to Dr Woodruff, the Council states on page 37 and 38, Clause 810 of the planning scheme sets out the matters which Council must have regard to when determining applications. This includes the content of any representations received, but only insofar as the content relates to the particular discretions being exercised. The developer's responsibilities under the Federal EPBC Act are separate to Council's role as a planning authority. Council does not have any authority to require the applicant to demonstrate compliance or consideration of the requirements of the Federal EPBC Act or refuse the application on this basis. As pointed out by Councillor Courtney, this situation demonstrates the difficulty the planning authority has in such situations, because by Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 and the Local Government Building and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1993, the planning authority can only assess against the applicable planning scheme provisions. To do otherwise at this stage may result in penalties if the planning authority fails to enforce its planning scheme.
Thank you. Any further speakers? Councillor Bradley.
Yes, Mr Mayor. I am not in favour of this subdivision. There are 28 conditions for this proposal, 2 of which I am not happy with. These are 13 and 14 of the recommendation. There is also a worry for me that changes can be made to a sealed plan without notifying council. The other is about the burrowing crayfish and who follows through to make sure these conditions are met. However, I'd like to readdress these issues at a later date, but personally I would like to see the whole recommendation postponed to a date till after we have a meeting with other councillors around the table to get our head around the whole thing.
Okay. And Councillor Bradley, any further speakers? Councillor Bramish.
Thanks, Mayor. I did have a bit of trouble with this application. Talking to the planner on Friday, she explained it very well for me. I think I understand it the best I can. It's still messy, I know that. But I believe we've got to do it as a planning authority. And the driveway will be up to the applicant and the developer to sort out. The planner did make it clear to me that she could put an application into council to build a shed on my land and it be approved. My land and it be approved. But she might never get access to it to build on it. So, you know, like, we're obligated to approve this, whatever we do. And I can understand the concerns, and I'll be interested to see about the crayfish, whether Councillor Courtney or someone moves an amendment to the motion or a completely different motion, that I will probably support that too. But at this stage, I support the motion that's in front of us.
Councillor Bramish. Any Councillor Edwards?
I'm happy to support it as is, but I know that things have been brought up tonight, and I've seen the town planner today, and she has answered those questions for me, so I'm happy with that. I know the sealed, whatever else you call it, but that's to be discussed with the Titles Office, and the burrowing crayfish, I know that can be looked at a later date, or if Councillor Courtney puts it up as a foreshadowing motion, we can discuss it all then. So I feel happy that we're just approving what's in the box at the moment, and I know there's a lot of emotion on the outside of the box, like the titles and the burrowing crayfish, that we can discuss after this.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Any further speakers before I ask the mover to close the debate? No further speakers. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to speak to close the debate?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. There's not a lot to say, but Councillor Dunyam certainly made it fairly clear in regard to the burrowing crayfish, and when it does, well, when the road situation does go into the building application stage, that's what our engineers, planners are there for, to deal with all that, and I'm sure that everyone will get a fair hearing when it comes onto the table. So I'd ask all councillors to support this planning application.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hyland. Debate is closed. I'll call for there'll be a division. I'll call for a show of hands. Those in favour of the motion as it's recommended, please show your hand. Councillor Hyland, Councillor Edwards, Councillor Courtney, Councillor Bramish, Councillor Deputy Dunyam and myself. And those against, Councillor Bradley. I declare the motion carried.
Through Mr Mayor, just to take up the point of Councillor Courtney, I think we've just been quickly chatting up here at the front.
I saw that, that's why I thought I'd wait.
Yeah, we probably don't think it's appropriate to discuss that particular matter while sitting as a planning authority. I guess that was part of our discussion because it is separate to the planning authority. And if you could, I guess, let it indulge us, perhaps the best thing to do, given it's not time critical, as you suggested, is that we go and seek some more qualified advice and bring that back at a future meeting.
As to whether we can do the referral,
yeah,
and it's appropriate
get
for us
some
to.
further information for all parties to make a better informed decision, perhaps.
Yep.
So we're all on the same path might be the best way to go.
Yep, and that'll bring it back to the table.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr GM.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor,
Yes.
could I just ask that there be a correction on the screen? I wasn't against the motion, it should be MB, not MD.
Thank you. That concludes our planning section. We close at 7:14. 7:14. Okay, matters raised by councillors, 7.11 there, questions there on notice, taken from the previous meeting. We go right through until we now arrive at councillors' questions received in writing. Councillors' questions without notice. It's over to you, councillors. Councillors' questions without notice.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I do have one question.
Yes.
With your indulgence, I have a question about the artworks acquired by the Waratah Wynyard Council through its generous sponsorship of the TasArt competition through the Burnie Coastal Art Group for many years. This year, at the 44th TasArt exhibition, local artist Carmelo Salvo won the Waratah Wynyard Council award. My question comes from Christine Matthews, another locally renowned artist, who asks whether these artworks are put on public display anywhere or are they simply stored? If not on display, would the council kindly consider doing so, as it is important to promote our local art talent?
Mr GM, would I direct that question, Mrs Bradley? Okay, Mrs Bradley.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you, yes, the artworks that we receive, and we have quite a number of them now, they are just beautiful, and we put them in public places, so throughout the building, any of the areas of this building where there are public areas where people come for meetings, etc., we put them out. We can't have them all out at once, but we certainly endeavour to have as many out as we can, and there have been times in the past where we've done small exhibitions in the reception area so that people coming in, certainly when you come in the front door, you'll see a number of those artworks. So yes, they certainly are on exhibition as much as possible, and only in storage to rotate the works that are up.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley. That answer your question, Deputy Mayor Daniel?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Courtney.
Yeah, just a quick one. I asked 2 questions without notice last meeting, and I rightfully have been instructed that I did that the wrong way. Yeah. One of them is up for tonight, the fish farming. The others relegated itself to the senior management report, page 136. The report that I asked to be released. Is there a reason that that's in a closed section? Is that because we believe the state government hasn't actually done the report? Is that why that's closed?
Mr. GM.
136, just bear with me 1 second. Through you, Mr. Mayor. When you were talking closed, I thought you were talking it had been moved to the closed section of council, so I was perhaps a little confused. No, that question, so we certainly discussed it. Of your 2 questions that were raised at the last council meeting, one would end up with a notice of motion, the other will be followed through. So closed perhaps isn't the right reference, because that won't be closed until such time that particular matter is that particular report is available. So that's a good pickup.
You have sufficiently answered my question there. Thank you, Mr. GM.
Thank you. Any further? Councillor Bradley, did you have questions without notice?
Oh.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Just thought you were waiting. Councillor Bramish.
Thank you, Mayor. I just hope you might give me a little bit of leniency with this. It is a question, but I guess it'll probably come part with the next council elect. Is it's probably something that's never ever been to this council before, or nothing ever like it. Just wondering whether the next council could discuss whether to take to the Cradle Coast Authority or discuss with the region local mayors that we lobby the Premier Rockcliffe about a stadium in Launceston instead of Hobart. This is coming from the people I talk to out there in the community, and they certainly haven't asked me to come to council. But everyone believes it should be in Launceston, not Hobart, more central. So we up the coast here and the north, we can get a look in. I'll take a bit of guidance on this. Thank you.
Mr. GM, a question that from Councillor Bramish, that some organisation could be lobbying. Is an answer to that particular question?
Through Mr. Mayor, I would certainly think that council themselves would need to have much further discussion around that particular matter, become further informed and so forth before we were in a position to lobby in any particular position. So I think there'd need to be further information provided, further discussion held before that lobbying could occur.
In the council position?
Yeah, that would be the...
Yep, a council position. What the council's position. Thank you, Mr. GM. Any further questions without notice from councillors before we move on? Okay, notice of motion. Councillor Courtney, you have a motion there. Would you like to formally move that the council request that the state government facilitate a forum regarding the finfish farming?
Yes, I would.
Moved. Councillor Courtney.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Duniam. Open for discussion.
I'll just speak on the matter. Obviously, we've had quite a few people come to us and ask us to make representation or make our position clear, make council's position clear, and inform the community on the salmon farming, the finfish farming off our shores. I understand the level of frustration that is being levelled at us, but I thought that the best way to make sure that the request from the community are actually being met is to ask the state government, who are the ones that are supposed to be getting the social licence for it, to show us that they are getting social licence by holding the forum. It's not appropriate, as much as I would love to say, yes, council should hold the forum, it's not appropriate for us to do that on behalf of the salmon farmers that are the ones that are going to the state government to get state licence. It's the position of council to inform our community on things that we have say over, we have control over. We can try and inform them as much as we can on the salmon farming, but to take the cost of doing so and holding those forums and getting staff to know what information to put forward is not a place that council can be in. We can't get staff knowledgeable enough on this to be able to hold this forum. If we ask both sides of the parties to come forward and hold the forum, one doesn't come forward. So I don't see any benefit in council trying to go into an area where we have no say on it, we have no input into it, and we can't fully inform the community on it because it's not our wheelhouse. I think the only way that we can help our community is to say, yes, we should be fully informed on this and this debate should happen, but it is the state government looking for the licence. It is the state government giving these licences to these fish farms. So it is the state government that needs to hold the forum. Now, unfortunately, it's not what people want to hear, but it is all that we can do. So I'm putting the motion forward because I think it's a state government responsibility to prove that they have that social licence. The fact that they're saying, wait until after 3 years before we discuss it with the community, well, that's not good enough. If you say that you've got social licence, front up, prove it and hold the forums. That's why I've put the motion forward.
Councillor Courtney, I just ask you a question. Would you like to identify a location in your motion?
A location for?
The forum.
Oh, well, I think it would be best off being held in Burnie or Devonport because it doesn't just affect our area. These are licences that are going to be right along the west coast. This is not just about Wynyard. This is about our entire area. So, you know, I don't think it'd be right to just hold our community, information sessions for our community. I think that the Burnie area will be just as affected. So I think that the state government needs to put it somewhere more central, not just in our area.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question, it wouldn't be much good for the coast if it's held in Dover. Would you like to identify a position in your motion?
I'll identify Burnie as a suitable area to hold a forum.
Would you be happy to have that included in your notice of motion?
Yes, that would be fine.
Thank you. Okay, any further speakers, please?
Just briefly, Mr Mayor, I support what Councillor Courtney has just presented, and it does affect the whole region, not just Waratah Wynyard, and it's very, very important that we work together collectively and show the strength collectively that we are not happy about what the state government has or is allowing from the 1st of January.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further speakers? Councillor Edwards.
Should we have a date in there as well in the motion? Because if this is starting from the 1st of January, for a reply or a response or something?
I'm happy to add that it should be held before the end of the year, well and truly before the end of the year.
Did you make that adjustment, Sally? Are we happy with that? We pin it down? Oh, yeah, sorry. Deputy Mayor Dunham, seconded the motion. Are you happy to add that?
Yes, I'm happy with that. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Sorry about that. Okay. At Burnie before the end of the year. Okay, all clear? Happy? Any more speakers? Do you wish to close? Councillor Hyland, did you wish to say anything? That's all right. Councillor Courtney, you moved the motion. Do you wish to close the debate?
No, I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for their support in putting the motion forward, and thank you very much to the staff for helping me do a motion.
Okay, the motion, the debate is closed. I'll put the motion. Those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Okay, 9.1, the future use of Ballard Avenue Recreation Reserve Wynyard. That council note the status update regarding future use of Ballard Avenue Recreation Reserve.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunham moved. Second. Councillor Hyland seconded. Any debate? Any questions?
A comment, Mr Mayor. It's noted that the Wynyard Landcare Group advised that the site contained projected species Eucalyptus bruckeriana It is also clear that feedback on the use of the site for a dog park and freedom camping area is somewhat mixed, and therefore the report concludes that the proposed plans be deferred until further exploration of an alternative dog park and freedom camping site at the Wynyard Showgrounds is completed. So I ask all councillors to support the recommendation.
Okay. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.2, the Boat Harbour Beach Master Plan Annual Update.
I'll move that motion as
Councillor Edwards moved.
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
That was Councillor Dunyan, was it?
Yep.
Sorry. Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. Any speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.3 is next, and the Open Space Sport and Recreation Plan Update.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan.
I'll second that.
Councillor Edwards seconded. Any speakers in the debate?
Just a comment, Mr Mayor. This plan has been long term in the making to provide recreation facilities, specifically the Wynyard Recreation Precinct, including the showground, the Frederick Street Reserve, including the BMX track, and the Somerset Recreation Precinct. On pages 71 and 72, there is a list of progress and actions in the previous year, and it is clear that there is still a lot of work to be undertaken in these three precincts, and I ask councillors to support the recommendation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Dunyan. Any further speakers? Councillor Hyland.
Yeah, just the fact that I think the high school area is going to be a huge factor in this project, and I think it'll really be the supporting link that sort of brings it all together because of the youth.
Yep.
And all those brilliant facilities right at their back door.
Yep.
I think it'll be a masterstroke when
Yep.
we get it all together, Mr Mayor.
Make good use of a facility, not just a one-trick pony. Thank you. Any further speakers? Oh, Councillor Edwards.
Just wanted to note we've got some key actions in there for delivery in 22-23, point 12 and point 13. Public toilets to be established in Yolla, so they haven't been forgotten, and an establishment of a dog park in Wynyard, which we just discussed.
Yep. Okay, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.4, the Fossil Bluff and surrounding trails Master Plan Annual Update.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan moved. Seconded Councillor Hyland.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'll just make a comment. This plan proposes 19 actions to cover the themes land management, biodiversity, geological interests, tourism, lookouts and trails, Aboriginal and cultural heritage, historical interests in 3 key areas. The actions address key concerns around maintaining the reserve, safety infrastructure, tourism and education, and page 77 identifies that some actions have commenced, and page 78 lists planned actions to be delivered during the 2022-23 financial year. I ask councillors to support the recommendation.
Thank you. Any further? Councillor Edwards, did you wish to speak? That's all right. No further speakers. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Integrated Council Environmental Plan, ICEP, annual update. Did Council note the annual status? That was Councillor Courtney? Okay, thank
I'll
you.
second that.
Councillor Edwards seconded. Any speakers, any questions? No speakers, no questions. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. .6, the East Wynyard Foreshore Master Plan Annual Update.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan. Councillor Hyland seconded. All straightforward. Any questions, any speakers?
Just to say that this report notes that some actions are already in progress and 4 are ongoing. The remaining 23 actions have not commenced and are not scheduled to be commenced until later in the 5-year plan for East Wynyard. So I ask councillors to support this motion.
Thank you. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 9.7, the quarterly information report, the community engagement.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan. Councillor Hyland seconded. Is there anything there that you're raising?
One small comment, if I may, please, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I wish to thank the Director of Community and Engagement, Mrs. Bradley, and her staff for undertaking the winter coat drive, which I believe was successful, as Council received over 50 quality winter coats for distribution to the Waratah Wynyard community.
Thank you. Thank you. Well done, Mrs. Bradley. Any further speakers? Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, just noting on the tourism part, the White Hills Lookout, the
Yep.
project is complete there, but we're still awaiting on the signage on the road, so that hasn't been fulfilled yet or heard anything there.
Mrs. Bradley, do you have any info on that at this stage?
I'll need to seek some further information, so I'll take that on notice and find out what the timing is for that.
Thank you. Councillor Bramish.
Yeah, I'll just inquire what Councillor Bradley's there. The opening of has that been revealed for the Tiger there yet?
Again, I'll take that on notice through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
My understanding is that there won't be an official opening. However, I'll seek some clarification around that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Can we do a bit of a promotion on it then, Council, if they're not going to open it, because people don't know it's there. Simple as that, unless they drive up there.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, my understanding is that we are promoting it, but I'll find out what the mechanisms are that we're using to make sure that people are aware that there's something that there's more things now there worth going to see.
Yep.
Through Mr. Mayor, if I can add, I think certainly our intent is to promote it more when it's finished. So I think the signage that Councillor Edwards is seeking is required to be installed, and then obviously once the job is finished, the project is finished, well then we're in a better position to be able to promote. So I think that's what we're waiting on at this point in time. Clearly out of our hands as to those timeframes, but we are waiting on Department of State Growth and the state government to finish that project, and then it will be promoted accordingly.
Whose responsibility will it be to look after that area up there? Why I say that is because last time I was up there, probably Councillor Edwards might have been with me actually, there was tea tree stuff growing up around the Tiger, and another couple of years or 12 months probably would be blocked off. So I just wondered whose responsibility is to maintain it. Happy to take that on notice.
Yeah, okay.
Mrs. Bradley.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's the area, we maintain the area. So if you've been up there and seen some things that are not quite right, then we can certainly pass that information on and get the crew up to have a look.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley. Okay, any further questions in regard to the Community Engagement Annual Report? Quarterly report, I mean?
I've got a quick question.
Councillor Courtney.
Page 105, through you, Mr. Mayor, perhaps to the General Manager, child safe recommendations in local government. Can you just, if we roll down, it says that Miss Bradley has represented Waratah Wynyard and Circular Head Council in the consultation so far as the Child Safety Officer. Further development of the role requirements and review of the term Child Safety Officer is being considered before continued consultation. Can I get some more information on what? What?
Mrs. Bradley, over to you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So, coming out of the Royal Commission, there have been a range of recommendations. One of the recommendations specifically talks about local government and has requested that every local government authority has a child safety officer. The comments that within the report is that there's been a lot of pushback about that term because it refers, child protection refers to their, that's right, and so it is confusing for people. The child safety officer role is about assisting council and the community in meeting the obligations under that particular part of the Commission's findings and that the area of the Act that refers to local government. At the moment, there isn't a lot of information, so the Act is ready to go before government, and I guess the devil will be in the detail of the guidelines that sit under that Act, and that'll say what this person's role will be within council. One of the things that is interesting is that it is expected to be part of an existing role within council.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley.
Can I ask a further question then? So is there a recommendation come out about this from the local government of Tasmania saying that we need this officer? Are they going to fund this? They're saying that we need a council staff member to be able to do this. I know you're qualified, but I imagine you're not a qualified child safety officer. Is the fact that we need somebody with that qualification now moving forward on council, is this another employee that we have to put on?
No, it isn't another person that we need to put on. And what it is really around that education and working with the community around meeting requirements. So it isn't the same as a child protection, child safety officer, which is why the term is being considered at the moment, and whether that so the term for a person within council becomes something different. It's about education. It's not about the roles that a child safety officer within child protection would undertake.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley. No worries. We are at 9.7. Any further questions? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.8 takes us to the annual plan update report, the 1st of July 2022 to September 2022.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam. Councillor Hyland. Any questions? Any speakers?
A comment, Mr. Mayor. As stated on page 108, this is a progress report of actions against the Council's annual plan for 2022-23, and as of the 30th of September 2022, 45 actions are in progress, that's 80%, 9 have not started, that's 16%, 2 actions have been fully completed, 4%. I congratulate the General Manager and staff on achieving this result so far.
Thank you. Any further speakers? No more speakers. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.9 is the audited financial statement for the year ended the 30th of June.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam moved. Councillor Hyland seconded. Any questions? Any speakers?
No, just a brief sentence, Mr. Mayor. The report states that Council's operating results are favourable to budget and continue to be sustainable with a favourable performance against the budget adopted by Council in June 2021.
Thank you. Councillor Courtney.
I'm just going to do a quick thank you because none of us know whether we're going to be here at the next council meeting. As you all know that the elections have gone up, so none of us know whether we're going to be councillors at the next sitting. So I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you very much, Mr. General Manager. You've done a wonderful job over the last 4 years to keep us in a good financially sustainable position. You've got us through COVID. We've had some of the lowest rate increases in the state. I think you've done an exceptional job, and it's been a real pleasure for me to work with you over the last 4 years. I'm not a fan of a lot of general managers in Tasmania, and I will say that I have enjoyed the last 4 years. I find you to be very honest, very forthright when I ask you about anything that's going on, and you've done an incredible job to keep us in such a good financially sustainable position with so many projects on the go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any further speakers?
I endorse that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Duniam. Yep, ditto here too. Thank you. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.10 award of the contract, design and construct the Wynyard Foreshore Boardwalk replacement. There's a recommendation there, the design and construct the Foreshore Boardwalk replacement to AJR Construct for option A, the concrete pathway. So moved, Councillor Courtney.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Councillor Brammy seconded, and you've seen the options, and we're going for option A, concrete.
Yep.
Any speakers? Yeah, you'd like to open the debate at all? You'd like to speak, Councillor
No, I
Courtney?
was just going to say, it looks like it'll be all right, and you've highlighted Daniel in there around guarding, putting a footing down so that water won't wash under the pathway. That'll be a big plus, I would say.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, no further speakers. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 911 is the financial report for the period ended the 30th of September.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniel. Second, Councillor Courtney. Any questions? No questions, no speakers. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Senior Management Report. The recommendation that the Council note the monthly Senior Management Report.
So moved. I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Bramish moved and Deputy Mayor Duniam seconded. Yes, the Senior Management Report. Is there anything there you wish to speak about or ask a question?
Just if we could get that page 136 closed, removed.
Yeah, I'm sure that adjustment was made immediately.
Thank you.
It is on my book. Okay, I'll put the motion. Oh, Councillor Hyland.
Oh, only a question.
Yep.
We were down there Thursday in all the rain, but the pontoon, is that, we could see it out the window, but is that near on completion or just a bit of groundworks around the...
Yeah, Mr. Summers, did you have an update on that at all?
Yeah, thanks for you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, it is near completion. There's not much remaining to do there.
I see the big float in there the other day taking the crane away and that. She's done a good job to withstand the storm, didn't it? It's been a green job. Yeah, okay. Anything further, folks, out of the Senior Management Report? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 913 is the next one, and it's minutes of other bodies and committees, and there are none. And then 10 is matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting, and that the matters listed below be dealt with there. I have a motion on that,
So
please.
moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam, move. Councillor Courtney. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Then we need a recommendation that the council resolve by absolute majority to go into the closed meeting to consider those matters. Deputy Mayor Duniam. Councillor Courtney seconded. And I'll put that motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. And it's about 7:42. 7:42. I'll close the meeting.